Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. It is September 27th, 2025. Now, I came across a story yesterday where ICE agents detained a Des Moines, Iowa school district superintendent. Let's check out this story together, shall we?
We are following developments out of Iowa, where the Des Moines Public Schools superintendent has been detained by federal immigration officials. CBS News' Lana Zach is tracking this story from Iowa City. She joins us now with more. Lana, great to see you. What all do we know about the superintendent? What are ICE officials saying about his arrest?
Meg, this is definitely a shock that Des Moines is still trying to come to terms with. And we saw the officials from Des Moines City Schools really invoke what they heard from Dr. Roberts' own teachings about empathy, about trying to withhold judgment. And they said that they still, while new information has come to light, that they're still reserving judgment until they are able to independently verify what we have heard from law enforcement officials. They say that they apprehended in a targeted action earlier today Dr. Ian Roberts, who has been the superintendent of Des Moines schools since 2003. And they tried to stop him in his school vehicle. He fled law enforcement at that point. They later found the abandoned vehicle, and they found inside that vehicle a handgun, which was loaded, they said, along with cash and some other items that they're looking at as part of their investigation. The reason why all of this is confounding people here is he was a beloved educator. He had become the superintendent of Des Moines schools back in 2003. He's from Guyana. He had come over here legally on a student visa back in 1999, but that visa he overstayed, so his status was no longer legal, and then that gun possession charge that he previously had, which law enforcement referred back to, that's because as somebody without legal status in the United States, it is illegal to possess a firearm of any sort. So that's why he was arrested, and he has been facing deportation.
Okay, so what we know so far about Ian Roberts, Dr. Ian Roberts, the superintendent from the Moines, Iowa School District, was detained by ICE agents yesterday for many reasons. One, he already had a final deportation order. Two, his student visa expired recently, a couple of years ago, so he was in the country, guess what? Illegally. And he was probably earning in upwards of $300,000 a year in the largest school district in Des Moines, Iowa, as an illegal alien. Not only that, local officials tried to pull him over. He was in a school vehicle. He was in a school vehicle. A vehicle paid for not by Mr. Roberts, but by the school district itself. So he evaded police in the school vehicle. He ditched the vehicle. No accountability, right? You have government furnished equipment. You are supposed to maintain positive control of that equipment at all times, unless it's an emergency. Not this type of emergency though, but national disaster, whatever the case is. Then when police found the ditched school vehicle that Dr. Roberts ditched, they found a loaded handgun. They found $3,000 in cash. And obviously, since he's in illegal immigrant status, it was illegal for him to have that firearm, right? Especially in the school vehicle. Come on, man. I mean, and then one other thing I want to point out, and then we get to the next video. You got to understand that what we heard so far and what we're about to hear, maybe CBS Saturday Morning is a syndicated, nationally broadcast station. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is that older people, 50, 55 and up, 65 and up in age, their main source of interacting with electronic media is through old school watching TV. Watching TV old school. So a lot of these local news stations, such as the one that you heard previous to this video popping up, you're gonna get a lot of sympathetic sentiment about a guy who broke the law. And we're gonna dig straight into how exactly he broke the law, and he remains rightfully behind bars, awaiting intake, processing, and deportation to his country of origin. But these local news channels, they understand that older people, they're not on social media platforms, they're not really getting real-time truth. So what do? They kind of overplay the hearts and minds, pulling on the emotional heartstrings of older folks to make them to believe that the ICE agents were in the wrong. President Trump's administration was in the wrong. But all the Trump administration and what ICE agents and other federal agencies are doing is enforcing the laws that are already on the books, which means that if you're in this country illegally, we're gonna do our research, we're going to locate you, detain you, process you, and deport you.
A protest that erupted after ICE agents arrested the head of Iowa's largest school district. Immigration officials say Des Moines Public School Superintendent Ian Roberts was considered an ICE fugitive and was living and working in the country illegally. Lana Zach brings us more from Iowa.
Protesters rallied outside of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration offices in Des Moines Friday, stunned by the arrest of Public School Superintendent Ian Roberts, an immigrant from Guyana.
The general public, I think, is not okay with what's happening.
In a targeted enforcement operation, Roberts allegedly fled before being arrested. Officials say inside the vehicle he was driving, they found thousands of dollars in cash and a loaded handgun. It is a crime for someone without legal status to possess a firearm.
We do not have all the facts. There is much we do not know. However, what we do know is that Dr. Roberts has been an integral part of our school community.
Roberts became superintendent of Iowa's largest school system in 2023. The district says he disclosed that he had previously pled guilty to a minor firearms charge.
We have a plan to reimagine education here for the future in Des Moines.
But they say they were not aware of a deportation order issued last May. Roberts is accused of overstaying a student visa issued in 1999. In a statement, the local ICE director tells CBS this should be a wake-up call for our communities to the great work that our officers are doing every day to remove public safety threats.
I love Dr. Roberts. He has been a wonderful superintendent for us.
Roberts, a former Olympic athlete, had been well liked by many in the community, and while some are now questioning what background checks were done by the school,
none of that matters. He had a student visa that expired in 1999, and he decided to break the law and not go back to Guyana, South America. I mean, whether he was liked by the community, whether you have like a white woman or white women and children rallying around him about all the good that he did and all this other kind of stuff is really irrelevant at this point.
District, others are questioning the motivation behind the arrest.
He was targeted specifically because he won't give access to ICE to arrest our kids. And we are 100% behind him.
For CBS Saturday Morning, Lana Zach in Iowa.
If you are sleeping in a position like this, you are wrecking your
Hey,
body.
my wife just got me a
cervical spine.
my wife just got me a new cell phone case. I think it's kick ass. I think it's kick ass. Don't tread on me, right? The American flag, the Gaston flag, kind of melded together, and of course, it goes with my "Don't Tread on Me" wristband that my younger brother got me about a year ago, and of course, I'm rocking the Virginia plates with "Don't Tread on Me." All right, let's get back to the story, man. All right, so you heard that. Now they were pulling on the emotional heartstrings in that report about this illegal alien who broke the law. When are we as a country going to realize that a country without borders, a country without laws, isn't a sovereign country? We need to get back to law and order. We need to crack down. And then the school district board that hired this guy failed to do a thorough background check on this guy. Can you imagine that? You earning nearly $300,000, $400,000 a year in one of the largest school districts in Des Moines, Iowa, and you're not going to do a background check on this dude? Oh, we're going to have to discover the facts. What we do know, well, it appears that you didn't know much. You don't know how to vet your candidates. I mean, that's what it boils down to me.
We do not have all the facts. There is much we do not.
Breaking news.
That breaking news, ICE detains the superintendent of the largest school district in Iowa. Good evening, I'm Bill Shammer. Dr. Ian Roberts, head of Des Moines Public Schools, was going to the Pottawatomie County Jail. Now, we've learned he's no longer being booked at that facility because of potential protest. We go now to KETV News Watch 7's Beth Carlson, who's live in Pottawatomie County with the latest. Beth?
Bill, we're here outside the Pottawatomie jail where Roberts was originally scheduled to be detained. In the last couple hours, protesters began awaiting Roberts' arrival here at the jail, and then those plans suddenly changed. A Pottawatomie County Sheriff's deputy telling me that federal agents called the sheriff's office telling them that Roberts would no longer be sent to the Pottawatomie County Jail. Not only that, but Roberts no longer appears on the ICE locator list for detainees on their website. Now, this all started this morning when Roberts was told to be detained by ICE agents in Des Moines. According to ICE, Roberts was living in the U.S. illegally and is from Guyana.
Illegally.
Officers approached Roberts in his vehicle and he then sped off. Authorities later found his car abandoned in nearby woods.
So not only wasn't bad, it went from bad to worse. So he was in this country illegally. He was hired illegally. He, according to 2 reports that we've seen, that he was driving a school vehicle, allegedly, with a loaded gun and $3,000 worth of cash in there, illegally. And then he evaded ICE officers and other local law enforcement trying to detain him.
And later, federal agents took Roberts into ICE custody. Roberts has an existing weapons charge from 2020 and, according to ICE, was in possession of a loaded handgun, $3,000 in cash, and a hunting knife. A federal judge gave him a final order of removal in 2024, according to immigration officials.
So it doesn't matter if he was an integral part of the community and the people loved him and all this other kind of stuff. He had an existing weapons charge from 2020 where he had a handgun, a knife, and all this other kind of stuff in his possession. And then according to ICE officials, they say that a judge issued a final order of removal last year in 2024.
Roberts began as Des Moines Public School
every
Superintendent.
School leader, every teacher, and staff. But it's a plan that truly highlights the hopes and dreams of the larger Des Moines community.
Ian Roberts began as Des Moines Public School Superintendent in 2023, the district hosting a press conference some short time ago. Take a listen.
We do not have all the facts. There is much we do not. However, what we do know is that Dr. Roberts has been an integral part of our school community since he joined over 2 years ago.
The ICE.
None of that stuff matters, like I said. Now you got protesters that are locking in on this story. I mean, they must have a combat operations center somewhere, these paid protesters. Whoever's paying these protesters to be out there to withstand the tear gas, to withstand the tear gas pellets and rubber bullets that are being shot at them on a day-to-day basis. Me, as a sane human being, would not subject myself to that type of response from federal and local agents if I wasn't getting paid. These guys are getting paid to be out here. And so now we're switching to News Nation, which is more of a digital platform in terms of it doesn't have its own cable news network. It's just like on streaming platforms. News Nation is where Cuomo is basically the face of News Nation, and I think his name is Chris Cuomo. And so now you're seeing this story progress from it being a local story to now gaining national attention. And I think I saw a couple of headlines from CNN on YouTube where CNN is starting to pick this up. So before we go any further, I'm going to play this clip. But as this story hits the national scene in the media, there's a couple of things that you have to have in mind, right? Expect the national reporting to focus on the Trump administration and ICE agents who are only upholding the immigration laws that are already on the books. If you're in this country illegally, then you must be detained, processed, and deported to your country of origin. We have to crack down. Too many times that U.S. taxpayer dollars are going to people who walked into this country illegally, and then resources, financial resources, physical structures, and living space that were meant for U.S. citizens and our veterans and things like that are now being shared with people who are in our country illegally, right? So expect the national reporting to be focused on ICE unpopularity, and people shot at ICE in Dallas a couple of days ago, and the national news media is going to continue the negative rhetoric against ICE agents, and also expect negative rhetoric against people who support what Trump was voted into office for. So these guys are willing to alienate more than half the country that voted for President Trump to be the 47th president of the United States, alienating the Trump administration, Trump supporters, and his cabinet members and staff, all to push a narrative that Democrats want illegal activity in their school system. They want illegal activity to occur in the executive branch of the federal government. Why else would they advocate for not deporting millions and millions of illegal aliens that crossed our U.S. southern border during the last 4 years under the Biden-Harris administration? I could look up clips that shows and details Jasmine Crockett. She's the U.S. House of Representatives representing Texas 30th District. Then you got Elizabeth Warren, who represents, I forgot, maybe the 14th District in Massachusetts. They're on record, they're online saying that we want illegal immigration because, heck, who else is going to clean your toilets? Who else is going to pick the cabbage out of the farm fields? Who's going to do all that? Right? Like Americans can't do it. Let's get to the story.
The developing news from Iowa, the Des Moines school superintendent has been detained by ICE. This is a targeted enforcement operation that we're just learning about, okay, in Des Moines, Iowa. All right, so here's what happened. Again, getting back to Broadview, Illinois in just a moment. So this is interesting because it's ICE related anyway, but the school superintendent is from Guyana, and ICE came in and has detained the superintendent. The district leaders just had a news conference, and they wrapped up that news conference moments ago saying that Ian Roberts, that's his name, was on an expired student visa and was given a final order of removal May of 24. So we'll see how this goes. Iowa Public Schools website says he was born to immigrant parents from Guyana and spent most of his childhood here in New York. So he, for the most part, grew up here in New York City, is what we're told. Parents are from Guyana. He also is a former Olympian, for what it's worth, competed for Guyana, I believe, in the 2000 Olympics in Sydney. He was a track and field athlete there. DHS officials say that he tried to evade arrest. That's the only other piece of information we have on that.
He didn't try. He evaded arrest. He did the deed. He did that thing.
He's in Des Moines, Iowa. Protests now breaking out outside of a federal building in Des Moines. The school superintendent, a guy by the name of Ian Roberts, who comes from an immigrant family from Guyana, happened to have been a former Olympic athlete, track and field in the 2000 Sydney Games, was detained today by ICE, okay? We're still efforting some of the details on this. Expired student visa was mentioned. Again, details to come on the detainment. Protesters, however, upon hearing about that, we reported it earlier in this show, have now taken to the streets of Des Moines. Again, these schools...
All right, we're going to end it right here. I apologize for the volume level of that last video. I did not really want to get to the guest that the host had on anyway, because this is what's going to happen as this story elevates to the national level. All of this is going to be blamed on Trump and his administration on trying to crack down on illegal aliens. All right, this is the key facts on the arrest of Dr. Ian Roberts. Okay, from Guyana, South America. Roberts entered the U.S. in 1999 on a student visa. His employment authorization expired in 2020. And an immigration judge issued a final deportation order in May of 2024, making him an active ICE fugitive. He was not legally authorized to work in the U.S. at the time of his arrest, right? So all those protesters out there need to read this. They need to get educated on exactly what's going on logically instead of reacting emotionally. All right. They're saying ICE on yesterday, September 26, 2025, approached Roberts in Des Moines as part of a targeted enforcement operation. He fled in a district provided vehicle. So yeah, it was the school district's vehicle that he fled in. Which, I mean, they're talking about how this guy is an integral part of the community and he's doing this and doing that. But I mean, his actions say differently, right? He fled in a district provided vehicle, which was later found abandoned near a wooded area. Iowa State Patrol K-9 units assisted in locating him, right? Detained him. Items found. They found a loaded gun, which he was not authorized to have because he was an illegal alien. $3,000 in cash and a fixed blade hunting knife from the vehicle. Was he supposed to have all that in a school district provided vehicle? No. So look, I'm going to conclude like this, right? Whenever you hear these stories and they sympathizing with the illegal alien or somebody who is criminally liable for doing some dumb shit, you got to take it with a grain of salt. And if you really choose to, you can do your due diligence and research the facts of the story on your own. You can ask Chat GPT, you can ask Grok from X, or formerly known as Twitter.com, and you will peel back the onion on what's really going on, like we just did now. But I really enjoy the fact that you've engaged with me. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll check you on the next one. Thank you.